Jim, just give us your thoughts going into this one this weekend, last game before this break.
Yeah, I mean, obviously another difficult game. I think Ross County have pretty much slipped under the radar up to now, but I think Don Cowie has done a terrific job. I was at their game last weekend against St Mirren, and they're very well organised, very well drilled. They've got some good players at the top end of the pitch that can cause us problems. We know that. When we played them in Dingwall at the early part of the season, they gave us a real tough time in the first 45 minutes, and we had to make one or two changes ourselves to make sure we'd done better in the second half. So yeah, they're a good side. They've picked up a decent amount of points up to now, and I'm pretty sure Don Cowie will be very pleased with what he's witnessed at this point of the season. I think they're coming into this game on the back of having two good clean sheets as well against St Mirren and Hibs in the last two games. So we know it's going to be a tough one, but obviously the expectation is there for us, being the home team in front of a demanding home support, to go and take the game to them.
When you look at the league table, Ross County, for all the plaudits that the likes of yourselves and Aberdeen have been getting this season, Ross County aren't that far behind. No. But I guess as a manager, you'll always want to look above you. You've got Rangers in striking distance. Is catching them a target for you?
I think we just got to take it week to week, to be honest. I mean, we're not too focused on the league table at this point. I think when you get to kind of the first half of the season being over, around about Christmas, January time, then I think the league, you can take a bit more interest in it then. But from now, we're not trying to get too carried away. We think we've performed well. Our points return in the opening 11 league games has been very positive. I think most people, from a Dundee United perspective, would have took the position that we're in, prior to the league starting, given us being the newly promoted team and the amount of new recruits that we had to bring in the summer. But we're not getting carried away ourselves. I think we've rode our luck at times. There's been other times where we've played really well, and there's been a number of situations this year where we've had to show good character to come from losing positions to take something from the game. So I still think we can improve. I think we're coming off the back of a really tough week where there's 3 games in the week. With the amount of injuries that we've had, it's been extremely demanding for the group that's been available to us. But it would be great to finish off this round of fixtures going into the international break still in 4th position. I think that would be fantastic.
I mean, you played 11 games. That's obviously a third of the pre-split fixtures, isn't it? It's still a long way to go, but if you were preparing an early season report card and just take a step back and assess this kind of first block of 11 games, I mean, how would you assess it? I mean, have you progressed faster than you thought you maybe would have as a group?
I mean, look, we had great confidence in the recruitment that we'd done. I mean, obviously, there was a big turnover of players in the summer, and we managed to retain the ones that we wanted, that played a big part in getting us promoted last season. But the league hasn't surprised us in any way. I mean, every single game that we've been involved in has been really tight, really competitive. Not a great deal between any of the teams. We haven't played Celtic yet, and we know how good they're going at the moment, both domestically and in Europe. So that itself throws up a different proposition. But in all of the games that we've played up to now, we can only judge it on that, and we've had some terrific results. In the last couple of weeks we've taken 4 points off Hibs. Obviously had a win at Tynecastle a few weeks back. I think it's the first time in 13 or 14 years since Dundee United have done that. Narrowly beaten at Pittodrie, narrowly beaten at home to Rangers. So I think the players can be very pleased for what they've done, but I do still believe that there's a lot more to come from us as a group. And I think when we get the whole squad back and we get the injured players back in, I think we've got a really competitive squad of players.
What's your team news? Where are you with injuries and bumps and bruises?
Well, unfortunately, Trapanovsky limped off not long after coming on in the second half last weekend. We deliberately never started him in the game because he'd played a part in the previous 2. And as I said, 3 games in a week can be demanding. So we left him on the bench in the hope that he would be able to come on and make a positive impact. He was 100% fit before the game, but unfortunately, just tweaked that same hamstring again during the few minutes he was on the pitch. So he, unfortunately, will be out this weekend. We're not going to put a time scale on it just now. I think it's too early to call. Docherty is making good progress. Ross Graham and Louis Moult are both making good progress as well. Whether this weekend is too early or not, we'll make that decision tomorrow. And obviously Craig Sibbald is the long-term absentee at the moment. So yeah, we don't have our problems to look for in terms of injuries, but credit to the players who are available and have been available consistently for managing to get the kind of results that we've got to at this stage.
How important is it to get the 3 points against Ross County this weekend and sort of maintain your position at the top end of the table?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every game we go into, we try and win it. Each team throws up its own different challenges in terms of formations and personnel. But we are the home team on Saturday, and we have to be positive from the outset. We didn't perform well in the first half against Hibs at Easter Road last weekend, and we made some changes at half time that I thought made us better, and we were able to get farther up the pitch, and we finished the game strongly and deservedly, I felt, on the day. Took a point, but at home in front of an expecting crowd, we have to do better. We performed really well in the Motherwell game. Unfortunately lost the game 2-1, but actually played some of our better football of the season in that particular evening. So we're looking for a repeat performance in terms of possession and the creativity that we showed on that night, and just a little bit more clinical in front of goal, I think, and hopefully that will be enough to get us the result that we want.
You mentioned that draw you managed to secure with the late equaliser against Hibs. How pleased were you with the composure of Sam Dalby, stepping up to take that late penalty?
Yeah, Sam has been great. I think that's 3 goals now in the last 4 games. He was unlucky as well, to have a goal chalked off in the second half against Hibs, was it? I think again. So yeah, could be sitting here 4-4 for the big man. But look, you want your strikers to be in amongst the goals. It's great for confidence. It's great for the team as well. And given that Louis Moult has been out for a number of weeks, there's been a lot asked of Sam and Jort van der Sand in recent weeks. So we're really pleased for the big fella. He's a handful in itself in terms of his physicality and his strength, but he's a really, really good footballer as well, and showed great composure and so late on in the game against Hibs at Easter Road.
You are the newly promoted team in the league, and you've spoken about the trouble that had to seek in injuries. Do you think you've surprised a lot of other teams?
I don't know whether we've surprised a lot of teams. I think when people think about Dundee United and they see the badge, I think they expect a club of this size to be up there competing. But I think when people take a step back and realise the hard work that's been put into to get us in the position that we're in just now, I think there's a lot of people behind the scenes deserve a lot of credit. As I said, newly promoted, we've had to sign 13 new players. To get all of those guys to gel so quickly and adapt to the Scottish game, it's been remarkable, really. But we're not getting carried away, believe me. We know how difficult the challenge is going to be to stay in the top 6. I expect Hearts and Hibs both to improve with the quality of players that both those clubs have got available to them. Dundee are right up there. St Mirren again will be wanting to get the points on the board to push for that top 6, and obviously Ross County, as we touched on, they're right there along with Motherwell. So there's so much still to play for, and if you drop the standards by a couple of percent, then things can change dramatically. And we just have to focus on the next game, and that's Ross County. It would be fantastic to get 3 points to stay in 4th going into the 3rd international break of the season. I think that would be a really good return for the players.
And perhaps some teams at the lower end of the league that you might not perhaps expect to see there. Does that just show how competitive it is?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, look, it takes. I think we're all a bit surprised to see Hearts and Hibs down there. Hearts had an incredible season last year. Were deservedly finished where they finished. They were the next best team out with Celtic and Rangers. I think we're all a little bit surprised at how they started this campaign. And Hibs as well. I look at the quality and strength and depth that both those teams have got in terms of the squad available to them, and I think they're in a false position, if I'm being honest. I do believe that both those teams will climb the table, and we just have to focus on what we can do and just make sure that we keep working hard and training. As I said, it would be nice to get some of those injured lads back in to make it a bit more competitive. And then in January, we can assess things in January when that window comes around and see if there's an opportunity to strengthen in certain areas.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jim, United have scored quite a lot of late goals this season. You must be delighted with the players' kind of never say die attitude. That's a good thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something, you know, that we're trying to create here. You know, that type of culture where you know, we drive that every day in training, whether it's in, you know, small-sided games, 5v5s, 8v8s, or even in 11v11s. The team that's losing, you know, we try and encourage them never to give up, and I think you're seeing that happen on a regular basis in the competitive matches at the weekend. Now, don't get me wrong, we don't want to continue to be having to chase games, and I think, you know, the first goal in this league is so important, and in the last few fixtures, you know, we've, in a number of the fixtures where we've picked up important points, we've had to come from losing positions. But it is great to have that type of mindset and to have that strength and character, and you know, you need a good team spirit, you need good togetherness, and the players have shown that numerous occasions already. And
Big York yet to get off the mark. Does he just need a spark, a goal, just to get him up and running?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've spoken to York and all of the strikers, in fact, on numerous occasions. You know, I know how they judge themselves is by goals, and I know a lot of people, supporters and media, will judge strikers on goal return. But for me as manager, you know, there's a bit more to that position than just putting the ball in the back of the net. You know, they have to be real team players. They have to work hard for the team out of possession, linking up the game with midfielders. And you know, York on a couple of occasions in the early part of the season unselfishly squared a couple along the face for one of his teammates to tap into an empty net. So you know, the big man could have easily took those opportunities on himself and got himself up and running, and it's that type of personality that I really like in the team, because there's no ego there. It's an unselfishness towards the team, and that's what's most important to me. He made a really big impact coming off the bench against Hibs on Saturday. Both him and Sam Dalby were a real handful for the Hibs backline. And you know, hopefully, if given the opportunity again on Saturday, he can continue in that vein against Ross County.
Is that the sort of front pairing that you can maybe see? Could they work together as a strike two effectively?
Well, we've only got two strikers at the moment available to us with the injury to Louis Moult, and you know, we've been reluctant to start with both in games because, you know, depending on how the game pans out, you don't then have any other options in the forward area to come onto the pitch. So, you know, we are trying to manage the squad as best we can, but you know, there is the flexibility within it to go with two or sometimes to play with one, and you know, there's been many times this season where we've played with a front three. So you know, we've got really good options within the team, and that's hopefully keep the opposition on their toes as well with regards to not knowing what way we're going to start the game.
Thanks, Jim.
Ross County haven't scored a lot of goals this season, but on the other hand, they haven't conceded a lot either. Mm-hmm. Does that make the position for Dundee United this weekend possibly one of the more difficult games to go compared to some of the other games you've had?
I think they're really well organised, Ross County. They're coming into this game off the back of 2 clean sheets against St Mirren and Hibs respectively. So that tells me they're really well organised. You know, they defend the box well, they get lots of bodies back in behind the ball. I think being the away team, you know, they'll be quite happy to sit in there in a low block and try and frustrate us and try and frustrate the home support. But you know, we have to just come up with solutions to try and break them down. And you know, it's going to be a difficult game. They're very dangerous on the counter-attack. They've got good pace, good energy in the middle of the park, and obviously they've got the young lad Hale at the top end who makes some very clever runs. So you know, we have to be at our best defensively. We have to get back to keeping clean sheets again. Our defensive record, you know, is up there with one of the best in the league. But you know, I feel we've been shooting ourselves in the foot in recent weeks in terms of the goals that we've conceded. I think we need to get back to being ruthless in both boxes. You know, taking real pride in clean sheets, and I always think that's a good platform to build on.
You're back at Tannadice, the big home support behind you from there. How important is it for them to show patience this weekend because of the type of game that you're going to have to play against Ross County?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the supporters have been different class all season, you know, and hence why we're getting so many through the gates at Tannadice and home games, and even on the road. You know, they travel in their hundreds, and you know, they have always been a really good support to the team. And I think when I think back to the Hibs game where we're 2-1 down, you know, the reaction within the stadium wasn't actually a negative one. They really, you know, motivated the players and got behind them and drove them on. And I think that positivity coming from the stands can certainly help. It certainly helps the younger players within the squad, and so yeah, we hope to give the supporters something to cheer about. I think as players and as a manager, the onus is on us to excite them and to get them out of their seats and to give them something to cheer about. And I think, like any supporter of any team out there, you want to see players who are committed, to the jersey, who give everything, and that's what we expect to do on Saturday. And hopefully, like I said, we can keep a clean sheet and we can score a couple of goals along the way.
Last international break before probably March of next year. Although it's good to have the players involved, are you kind of glad to see the back of it so you get continuity from now till March?
Well, we'll be short of bodies, no doubt, next week for training, given the injuries that we have, and then given the number of players who will be away on international duty. We'll have hope to have one, possibly two involved 21s, and then the likes of Odada and Babunski, Van der Sand, we would expect them to be in their respective international squads as well. So we want the guys to get that international recognition. I think it's good for them as individuals, and it's good for us as a club to have Dundee United players out there on the European stage or on the African stage when it comes to Odada. So it can only be a positive, but of course as a manager you're hoping that nothing else happens and that they all come back unscathed from the travels and in a good frame of mind to go and kick on again in the next competitive game.
Very, very simply, just give us your thoughts going in to the game this weekend.
I think pretty tough game against a good opponent. Ross County just is 4 points behind us. It's very, especially when they play home, they are a very, very good team. They have a great goal scorer in form, so I think it will be a very tough match for us, but I think very important, because if we won this, I think we will do us a big favor.
And you mentioned Ross County are just a few points behind you, which obviously suggests you do look at the league table.
Yeah.
I mean, from a Dundee United's point of view, when you look at the table, it must just make terrific reading for you all, because it's just been a fantastic start, hasn't it?
Yeah, we are sitting now after 11 games in 4th place. I think everyone has to be very buzzing about this, because we are a newly promoted team and we are a new group. Everyone like 20 new faces. So yeah, we are very happy, and we hope to continue like this.
Because I remember speaking to you in the summer, not long after you arrived, and we were speaking about you being one of a number of new players to come in, and it's all the usual kind of conversations about waiting to see how long it takes the squad to gel, or the team, the combinations in the team to work. But it all seems to have come together really nicely. I mean, have you been surprised, given the number of changes in personnel in the summer, just how good a start it's been?
Yeah, actually I'm not, because we work so hard on the training, and every day we have amazing coach and coaching staff, so everything this is not surprising, because this is a true hard work, and I think we will continue like this.
Good start, but do you think there's still a lot more to come from this group of players?
Yeah, it's 30 more matches, so season almost just started, so we have a big work in front of us. We have some big matches, and we are a good team, and I think that we will continue like this.
And just a final one from me. I guess the form you've been on at home to Ross County, I guess this is maybe one of those games where the expectation will be on Dundee United to win this game, and I guess that brings its own pressures in itself.
But at home we go. Dundee United has to go every time on the win, because I think we have a big history here and everything. So we will go, of course, on Saturday on a victory. and hopefully we'll grab it.
How pleased have you been with your own form this season so far?
It's been, I would say, good first 2 games, and then I had some injury with the hamstring, but after that, after 2-3 weeks, I come back, and now I'm playing for again different position, but okay, it's I don't care, because I think just I want to help the team, and yeah, if we win, it's everything great.
You spoke about obviously Ross County just being a few points behind you in the
Yeah.
table, but Rangers are just a few points in front. Is that a target that you maybe can catch them?
Yeah, well, the Rangers are a big team, of course, but if we can, we'll grab the 3rd place, of course.
And obviously at the weekend there, coming from a goal down against Hibs to get that late equaliser, how
Yeah.
important was that, and how did the team feel just about continuing to press so late in the game to get that reward?
We know that we didn't have the best our game, especially in the first half, but to score equalizer 10 minutes before the end and got away with a point, it was very good in the end.
What do you make of the league so far? I mean, there's maybe some teams down towards the bottom of the table that we wouldn't expect to see there, but does that just show how competitive it is?
Yeah, it's very competitive, because you don't have any team who struggles, because our whole Celtic and Aberdeen are far away now, but whole other league is like 10 points, I would say, so it's very competitive and very good and interesting league, I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You mentioned that you're playing in a different position to what you started the
Yeah.
season. How beneficial is that to you as a player, that you can play in different positions?
Yeah, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, because if you get used to play in one position, then of course you upgrade your game and everything. But if you can change position, that's good, because you're more likely to play every week, because I can play a centre back, right back, or defensive midfielder. So yeah, it's good.
You're just about to have an international break for the
Yeah.
3rd month on the trot.
Yeah.
Do you find that, although it's good to see your colleagues going away on these games, that it disrupts at all you as a player and how you prepare for things?
Yes, actually, because you get in form and everything. Sometimes if it's good form for the club, you don't find good these international breaks, because it's a break then, and you get out of form maybe, and these breaks every month is like not the best for us, I would say.